Hello, my name is Leo Edwards. I'm here today to discuss my second challenge assessment. The assessment is about real-world situations and using our mind to think of solutions. The picture in front of you is a wall. This wall has two steel rods, two steel plates, and insulation in the middle. In the following presentation, I will discuss the effects of heat transfer and how it affects people. I will also change three parameters and see how it affects each situation. I also want to touch on some real-world situations that this could have. Here is the original problem. I decided to calculate heat transfer and resistance. The resistance I got was 0.6 kilowatt hours. The heat transfer I got was 491.42 watts. The temperatures at each position I got were 0 degrees Celsius, 0.655 degrees Celsius, 21.34 degrees Celsius, and 22 degrees Celsius. This was because the temperature change was 22 degrees Celsius, so I got to pick two values, so I chose 0 and 22. As you can see, I decided to plot temperature versus position. You can see that in the chart. I also drew a resistance network. You can see that there are three resistors in parallel, and then when you combine them, they will be in series. For some background, what is going on? The IEA says to improve your insulation, you want to keep your heat in. This will help lower the cost of electricity. It also says that you should adjust your boiler settings depending on the year. So what does this all mean? This all means that we should try and find some affordable solutions for people who are not able to afford heat in the winter. So during this experiment, I also changed the insulation. The insulation that I chose to change was normal insulation to concrete. I thought this would make a big difference, and boy was I right. The heat transfer went up to 2,849 watts. The resistance was 0.104. This makes sense. Now we have to ask ourselves this question: is it practical? I would say no. I'm sure most people can't afford all of their insulation to be concrete. It also would take time to pour and gather all the materials. I decided to plot temperature versus position also so that you could see clearly it is not as practical as it should be compared to the first insulation that I had. So here are my three variations of the experiment. I chose three different parameters. For parameter 1, I changed the insulation, the area of the insulation. By changing the area in the insulation, it affects the amount that the heat would have to travel that you would lose. As you can see, I plotted heat transfer versus area. You can see how it increases as area increases. For parameter 2, I changed the thermal conductivity, so I used different materials for the two base plates. A fun one that I used was milk, and I got it for Q equal to 65. I also got water equal to 67.9. For parameter 3, I changed the temperature difference. As you can see, as I increase the temperature difference, the heat transfer does go up. This makes sense. Here are some improvements that we could make. Some improvements that we could make are changing all of our single pane windows to double pane windows. Double pane windows are better. They have many benefits and very few drawbacks. They offer a larger resistance network. Quad windows says that having more window panes is able to retain heat and keep more heat in. The drawback to having double pane windows or even quad windows are that the resistance network goes up, but so does the cost. This makes it not as affordable for everyone that might want to upgrade their windows. So what does improving our insulation do? Improving the insulation means that you are able to keep the heat inside your house, saving you money, making it more cost effective. So, some things that you could do are do-it-yourself insulation. Blanket bats are made from natural fibers sometimes, according to Energy 2023. You can do this yourself and make your walls much more energy efficient. Some drawbacks to this could be that you could also install it wrong or do it wrong. You could maybe even start a fire. Sometimes you might need contractors depending on the type of insulation you choose. This would also require special tools. Here are my sources.